We are coming up. Wait for it. All right, I see us. Okay, everybody wave hello to LinkedIn, wave hello to Facebook, wave hello to YouTube, big waves. Okay, I'm going to do the rolling music and I want everybody to tell me if you can hear this. And here we go now. We're live. Okay.
Where does yesterday's future, which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes away? Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
Thank you to that wonderful voice for introducing me. I'm Bonnie D. Happy to be here. We have a very, very interesting show today. We are live streaming. Hosts again, gentlemen again, wave hello. We are live on LinkedIn. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. And we come to you live streaming because I don't like to do pre-records. My guests are so smart and so brilliant. They're not afraid to go live without a net. Right, Tim Wolter? Right, Darryl Keeton? Right, Ben Lindner? Right, Don DeLoach? Don is the kingpin here today. He has brought me this wonderful panel. And Don, I want to thank you for being such a loyal friend over these years. And Don has brought me two topics this spring. One's coming up in another couple of weeks. So, gentlemen, I have an interesting opening here. And Don, this may be a surprise to you, but I'm going to read my new opening. And when I call your name, I just want you to wave so that everybody sees you. Okay, here we go. Welcome, global audience, to Technology Revolution's Glow. I'm Bonnie D on my Scarlett Mic, your host and guide. Well, you know. Today we drive into a topic profound, the construction industry, where AI helps keep buildings sound. Now it's showtime and I'm ready to start. 4 futurists serving up predictions a la carte. Here we go. When I call your name, wave. From Georgia Tech with skill and drive. At Prime and Honeywell, Don DeLoach did arrive. A leader who turns the troubled around startups to success. His track record is renowned. IoT, smart cities, AI, all in the frame. Innovation and ventures define Don's name. Don, did you like that?
It's very flattering. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's go on. A tinkerer, a builder, a mind set to soar. Ben Lindner's bridging ideas to innovate even more. Drones and robotics and data's embrace, making infrastructure a much safer place. With passion for STEAM, STEAM, Ben teaches with glee, shaping the future for all to see. Ben, what'd you think?
That was fantastic.
Okay.
I need that.
My pleasure. Okay, here we go. From field to design, Tim Wolter's path took flight. A crash reshaped his future so bright. Workplace safety became Tim's quest. With AI and VR, he builds the best. Training that learns, adapts, and applies, keeping construction safe and wise. Tim? Ooh.
Very flattering.
Oh, good. I never got flattering before. And now it's Darryl Keeton's turn. With vision and drive, Darryl Keeton leads the way. Smart city tech for a much brighter day. From Deloitte to scaling, his impact is vast. Solving for risks with knowledge steadfast. Traffic and safety, Darryl's mission is clear. Innovation shaping the roads wherever we steer. Darryl, I hope you like that.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. I got flattering and beautiful. That's good. So stay tuned, dear audience, as we explore this revolution in tech innovation and so much more. AI meets the construction industry with visionary skilled. With Bonnie D and her savvy futurists, it is ours to build. What'd you think? Everybody like that? Okay, I'm very, very glad. Don, this is something new. Don't tell anybody, I think I'm the only host who does rhyming bios for her guests, okay? And I have some things I'll tell you after the show. Okay, I'm going to let Mr. Jordan from Voice America in here just because he's coming in, but we're already streaming, so that's not a problem. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to ask each of you to fill in, just for a couple of minutes, fill in any blanks in the intros I did for you. So Don DeLoach, you're up first. Don, why don't you just tell us, is there anything else you want people to know? And then we'll go to the quotes and the predictions. Don, welcome.
No, I think that was more than enough. So just kind of here. I actually do want to say thanks to everybody else who's joining on this panel, though. It's a good group. So Thanks.
Okay. Well, how do you know all these people? Come on, introduce them a little bit then. If you don't want to talk about yourself, tell about Rocket Wagon. Talk about Rocket Wagon Studios. Come on, give us a little
Uh,
background.
sure. Well, I'll just let me just do the tip of the hat to them. So Ben leads a very, very innovative company that is doing bridge deck inspection using a variety of different emerging tools, which he'll tell you about. But it's amazing. Darryl does pedestrian traffic safety using innovative camera streams. And he's really passionate about the pedestrian safety and sort of very purpose driven. And then Tim is in a different realm of safety, looking at construction worker safety, led by past events in his life, and is incredibly innovative in how they're using combinations of signals to help not only discover workers' site safety issues, but use what is characterized as adaptive training in a very forward-looking way. These are very smart guys. I'm the offset in the group.
Oh, so are you. Come on, Rocket Wagon. We haven't talked about that yet. Tell us about Rocket Wagon Venture Studios. Bring us up to date, Don, briefly. Go ahead.
It's just mainly focusing on working with venture firms in terms of mostly course correction type stuff, but also analyzing companies that are either looking at future transactions or mostly urban innovation stuff. So a lot of my work is tied to the work I do with Smart City Works in DC and the Business Actuator program. And that's actually how I met both Tim and Darryl through that program.
Well,
And
thank
that's
you.
wrong.
Thank you for bringing the topic in this panel. Ben Lindner, let's go to you. Anything you want to fill in that either I didn't say or Don didn't say? Go ahead. Give me a couple of dashes in here, Ben. Go ahead.
Um, we're just trying to figure out how to apply all this new set of stack to make things better in the world. So we spend a lot of time bringing non-traditional domains from outside the engineering, typical engineering space, such as physicists and different types of computer programming expertise and things like that, and then see how much of the engineers are willing to share with us so we can try and figure out how to solve problems and get America's infrastructure back on track.
Thank you very much. Question for you, Ben. I absolutely am in love with your background. What bridge? Is that a real one or an AI construction bridge? What is it?
It is a real bridge. I believe it's somewhere in Maryland. It's just got some Photoshop running through the center with some lines, but yeah.
Thank you. Well, the Maryland DOT has a little bit of a gap because they thought my car went through one of their toll booths and didn't pay the Easy Pass about a year ago. And they were billing me for $7.16 and they were threatening me with collection. And somebody had transposed the license plate. One letter was changed with one number. Somebody physically hand entered it into their database with a picture of it from the camera on the Easy Pass terminal. And I had to fight it, and it took 3 weeks for them to decide I was no longer culpable for the $7.16. But I just got another one. Everybody likes my Z4. Apparently, it never leaves the garage except to go 3 miles to the supermarket. So yes, I know it's just been a very interesting ride, as they say. Thank you, Ben. Lovely to meet you. Tim Wolter, you're up next. He likes to go by Tim W, Timothy W, Timothy Wolter. You're all over the place. I had trouble finding you on LinkedIn, but I did twice under different names. Tim, delighted to have you. Please
Nice.
give us a little bit more about yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Don said some of it, but we're looking at safety as not one size fits all, but more proactive based safety utilizing technology. And that really came about with my daughter's struggles in school and her trying to learn and how do I adapt something to help someone. I don't know anything about education in that space, but I do know tech or construction and technology, and that's why Safety View was born out of that, as well as one of my best friends. He got hurt on a construction site, so we look at construction a little bit differently. So.
Necessity is the father of invention. I just changed that for you. It's nice to know the backstories, isn't it,
Yeah.
Tim, of
Oh, yeah.
how people are inspired. On my creativity show, I ask people, what's your muse? What inspired you to write that book, to start that business, to build that building, to write that piece of music? Was it a person? Was it a thing? Was it from childhood? Where do you create? How do you create? Does it just come to you in a dream? Is it music? Is it a movie? Is it a person in your life? And you just proved it's very often a person or people in your life. Yeah, I got to fix something. Let me create something. Thank you. Darryl Keeton, you are here. I'm so happy. I don't know. Don said you might not make it, and we're happy you're here. So, Darryl, why don't you fill in the blanks and tell us more about yourself? Welcome.
Sure. Thanks for having me, and thanks, Don, for help bringing the other two, Tim and Ben, to the session. So for Since Great, really passionate about helping save lives on our roads. Over 42,000 people die on our roads annually. And really our focus is seeing how the world of connected and autonomous vehicles came to light, and helping that transform with existing drivers, and how the integration of that world has to collide in a safe and smarter manner. And so really focusing on the world of mobility and how people move around the intersections and corridors along with vehicles, is what we're helping our customers identify.
Thank you very much. Lovely to have you on. And Don, thank you again. Show's over. No, we've got a lot more to do. Okay, I've asked each of you for a fictional quote from a fictional character in a movie or a TV show, or a song lyric that has nothing to do specifically with our topic, the future of construction, AI, technology, all that good stuff. And I'm going to read the quote with a little bit of background. I love to do my research, as Don knows. And then I'd like you to take about 2 minutes and link it to our topic in your own words, please. So Don has picked a quote from a song performed by the Grateful Dead, the 1970 album. Don, do you know how long ago 1970 is? Don't even tell me.
Sadly, I do. Yes.
I know, I know. American Beauty, written by who else? Jerry Garcia and Robert Hunter, also on the Long Strange Trip movie soundtrack. The song is about the mystery of our lives and the paths we take. And here is the line: Ripple in still water when there is no pebble tossed nor wind to blow. Oh, Don, this is deeper than your usual quotes. What's going on here? I can talk to Don like that, Tim. It's okay. We're friends. Don, tell us, how did you find this quote? Are you a Grateful fan? I didn't want to use the other word. And what does this have to do with our topic? Don, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I am a big Grateful Dead fan, especially Dead and Company with John Mayer. As anybody in the class that I teach at Illinois Tech will tell you, I start every class with with Dead and Co. music. This is one of my favorite songs by Dead and Co. or the Grateful Dead, and it's kind of, there's a lot of different interpretations, but one of those is really about the interconnectedness of things, and my view is that whether we're talking about construction safety or many other, not just safety, construction, infrastructure, these are all holistic environments and systems that you can't really just look at one thing. You have to look at the interconnectedness and solve for what outcomes you want on a holistic level. So by looking at each of the elements and then understanding how they all fit together, you get to a better outcome and better results. So yeah, that's
I like that. I like the word ripple too, thinking of the ripple of, I'll just say the ripple of human intelligence and technology rippling together into the future. I'm making a painting here, Don, excuse me. So, okay. Thank you. Very interesting. I'll have to go listen. Oh, wait a minute. Don, do you want to sing that for us?
No, but thanks.
See, he's allowed to give one word answers, as the rest of you at least need a sentence. Okay, let's go to Ben and rescue Don here. Ben, you have picked a quote from Dr. Ian Malcolm, played by the wonderful Jeff Goldblum. Of course, the film is Jurassic Park 1993. It's a little closer than 1970. American sci-fi action film directed by Steven Spielberg. Of course it is. Okay, let's go to the quote you've picked. Your scientists are so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. Ben, what does this have to do with our topic? Go ahead.
It doesn't mean to come off as doom and gloom as it is. I think it's actually a little bit more innocent. when I started working in the engineering construction industry, I started in drones with my background in aviation, and everybody wanted to use a drone to do everything. My most famous example is we've got these big steel tanks that we have to look at sometimes when we're manufacturing different substances, and everybody wanted to put a drone in a steel tank. It's basically like a mirror, and we confuse everything that we possibly use in the AI world to give that drone awareness and not to run into things. And I said, can't we just put a camera on a stick? And so it's just kind of an analogy of when we're looking at applying technology to problems, we should think about if we should, not just can we. Making sure that we are always considering the whys, and that'll help us get to the fastest and best outcomes using the technology. And then the other piece of that is it'll actually help with some of the technology whiplash we experience a lot in the industry. Is a lot of use cases I've run into is where people try and apply the wrong technology to the wrong problem set, and what we end up doing is making a bad taste in people's mouth for that type of technology, and then they're less inclined to look at adapting it for other use cases in the future.
Shiny new thing syndrome, right? Let's buy it. Let's get it. Let's install it. Let's apply it. Who cares where we do it as long as we show we're on the cutting edge and we've got this new technology? Duh. Thank you very much, Ben. Very interesting quote. Let's go to Tim. Tim has picked a quote from Lose Yourself by rapper Eminem, the lead single on the 2002 film 8 Mile, the soundtrack. Composed and produced by Eminem, Jeff Bass from Bass Brothers, and Luis Resto. Lyrics by Eminem sum up his character in the movie 8 Mile, and the character was rapper B Rabbit, B capital B dash Rabbit. Eminem says the song was written and recorded in a portable studio on the movie set during breaks while filming 8 Mile. He used one take per verse. The sheet on which he wrote the song appears in a scene in which his character is writing the song while riding on the bus. It was his first Hot 100 #1 single for 12 weeks, #1 in 19 countries, and it has been downloaded, Tim, only 10 million times in the US. I'd
Just
say
a
it
few.
kind of caught on. Yeah. So here's the line you were quoting. If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? Ooh, Tim, that's profound. Go ahead. Tell us what this means to our topic.
Yeah, I mean, this has been my motto for a while, even in my personal. It's you have to push, but when it relates to construction, AI, and things, construction is at a precipice. They're not usually ones to adopt technologies as well. So with AI and how it's rapidly evolving, this is that one shot to seize it, right? To bring it into the construction space, capture that opportunity, get the systems up and running before technology pushes past to autonomy, to robotics, get it in the construction workers' hands, help protect them, help integrate these things. And that's that one shot, one opportunity portion.
One opportunity to do it right sometimes. Isn't that true? Going back to what Ben said. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Darryl Keeton. Oh, you are taking us back. If we thought 1970 was an early quote, he's taking us back to 1939. Darryl, I love this. This is an iconic movie. It's from Scarlett O'Hara, played by Vivian Leigh. The film, of course, Gone with the Wind, 1939, epic historical romance film adapted from Margaret Mitchell's 1936 novel. Oh my goodness. Let's see, at the 12th Academy Awards, it won 10 Academy Awards from 13 nominations. It became the highest earning film up to that time and held the record for 25 years. Adjusted for inflation monetary today, it is still the highest grossing film in history. And I read a little backstory that they wanted to change Vivian Leigh's eye color. So they had a special makeup artist put her in certain clothing so her eyes looked, I think they were supposed to be green and she was really blue. I read this somewhere, interesting story. But let me get to the quote. So Darryl has picked the quote. Love this one. After all, tomorrow is another day. Oh my, Darryl, relate this to our topic, please. Interesting.
So I will piggyback off of Tim and the construction industry, focusing on adopting on new technology. You know, focusing what you're doing in the past may not be as efficient. So how do you find ways to create efficiency with AI and helping educate those to adopt to the new technology? So looking at it day to day, but figuring out how to optimize what you're doing for improving safety, project planning, and delivering and design is key for the industry.
Thank you very much. Very interesting quotes, and I appreciate your all diving into the fictional and the song lyrics. Appreciate that. And Don, I'm still disappointed you won't sing Ripple for us, but next time you're going to be on in 2 weeks, and I expect you to come with a song. And I'll get my drums. They're in the other room. I'll play light drums with brushes, and you can sing, and we'll see if anybody wants to dance. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Don, I've already put one of your predictions in the chat for you, and let's go to our predictions round. Here how it's going to work. I'm going to pick to start one prediction from each of you, and before it's your turn, so Ben will be then, and then Tim, and then Darryl. I admire all you. Somebody had to be first. Of course, it had to be Don and fourth, so we're just going to go around the table. I'll put it in the chat for you, the one I select. I will read it, you unpack it, and then if anybody has any comments, and I may just call on everybody, wiggle one of your nice fingers at me, and I will see you, and then we'll go on to the next one. Let's see how much we can cover. So, Don, I'm starting out with a really basic one here. And again, the topic is the future of construction industry and, or I like to put a plus sign, plus AI. Okay, so Don says AI will automate construction. Robots and autonomous vehicles will handle tasks like bricklaying and welding, increasing efficiency. Don, can you make this bigger for us, please? Go ahead.
Sure. I mean, this is pretty basic. It's kind of a statement of the obvious for anybody who's watching the industry, but there's all kinds of repetitive and dangerous tasks associated with construction, especially large vertical construction or infrastructure projects. And it's not, it is things like automated bricklaying, automated welding, things like rebar and rebar tying, concrete pouring and finishing, demolition for sure, material handling, but it extends to things like exoskeletons. I forget the name of there's a company that's doing well, creating exoskeletons to give people the ability to lift more or deal with heavier loads, perform repetitive tasks with less fatigue. And then that ultimately kind of moves in towards the autonomous vehicles in self-driving heavy machinery. Now, the people at Caterpillar, I was at a conference where they touted that in 1991, they kind of pioneered one of the first autonomous vehicles, which was an off-road construction machinery. But this has evolved in a huge way, as you would expect now. So earth-moving operations, precise grading and compaction, machinery that's designed to help site safety. And then, of course, the other area that I won't say much about because Ben is 1,000 times more knowledgeable than I am, but the use of drones and the capabilities that they bring to the equation. And when you take all of these and you combine them with AI, the combinatorial elements of these technologies increase the rate of innovation and the capabilities that we're seeing. And again, from a safety standpoint on sites, it just has profound impact.
The word that stood out to me there, Don, one of them was when you said precise. Interesting. So can humans do it with precision, or are the robotic equipment, the autonomous? Ben, your bailiwick. Go talk to us.
I think it's like a lot of things we see in AI is there's this vision of the machines are just doing it, but it's really about like human enablement. And so there's a lot of precision that we would love to see doing all sorts of things, whether it's a drone or a bulldozer. I was just on a site yesterday with probably 20 bulldozers driving around at the same time, and we had 6 guys staring at a robot flying in the sky that's just trying to get that bulldozer awareness, right? And so when we look at it's got to be a kind of a fusion of different technologies that we're still waiting on, the fusion of the different sensors and the fusion on the software telling the sensor what to do, and then the fusion ultimately of telling that machine how to move that piece of dirt in accordance with what we've been looking at. And so the thing I think to keep in mind when we start to get excited about this is that automation is painful. So you got to have a really important thing that you're trying to fix in order to get through the pain of bringing all these different pieces together. I mean, we were on one site and we were dealing with challenges from a GPS antenna system that's 5 or 6 years old and is already out of date and doesn't want to talk to a satellite system that's getting data up into the sky. And then the Wi-Fi on the drone that wants to talk to the antenna system on the GPS equipment isn't quite compatible. And so to get through those automations and to really see these things, what we have to do is we have to identify the pain that's happening in these particular things. And a lot of times that's around safety.
Yeah.
I was terrified being on the job site. I don't spend time every day with undulating machines and big mounds of dirt, and I'm just constantly looking around and have a very technical job that I couldn't even focus on because I was so concerned about not putting myself or somebody else in harm's way. So that's the pain points that I think will get us there. But I think it's important to know that while this is happening and it's coming, it's going to be steps in how we enable these things to happen. So, for instance, what we saw yesterday is there's 2 GPS antennas on the end of either one of those bulldozer head, excuse me, shovel. But so the machine isn't driving the shovel, the human's driving the machine, but the machines are informing the human how to drive the machine.
Interesting. Thank you for the background on that. Darryl or Tim, anything you want to add? No pressure. No good. Okay, Don, anything else you want to add before I move on?
No, that's good.
Okay, thank you very much. Ben is next. And Ben, this is an interesting segue into the prediction I picked for you, which is already in the chat. Prediction number 2. Ben says the demand for manual labor will shift toward roles requiring, here's the kicker, advanced technical skills to operate and maintain AI-driven systems. So what kinds of training and skills are we looking for here, Ben? Who's going to get these skills? Are they going to be on the job? Are they going to go to school? Are they going to come out of college with them? Where are this going to come from? Ben?
Hopefully we can come up with training programs. I think the world's moving a little too fast for training programs right now, so it's probably going to be a lot of on-the-job experience. But I do think that the fundamentals that we used to think about in school as far as reading and writing are probably less important as learning basics such as electromagnetic understanding and how does a circuit work. Being able to problem solve and troubleshoot complicated systems is where we've seen the most impact in our staff. So we might hire somebody with really advanced degrees, but they may not have the ability to think through less complicated systems and how to solve those problems on the fly. So it's really like finding the combinations of those on our team, and then with our customers especially, it's interesting. Some people think that the people to run our systems are going to come out of the IT program, but maybe it's a welder because that welder just knows how to fix things and they understand basics about electronics and about how things talk and work with each other, and they can learn the other parts of the skill set. So, but it is going to be a shift away from people actually pushing the levers, and it's going to be people understanding why the computer wasn't able to push the lever.
Interesting. So when we hear people talking about the need to reskill, especially careers that will be impacted by AI, how do they get those skills? Reskilling will be going back to school, Ben. Will it take somebody who is used to running a machine and sending them back to school, giving them some credits for, I don't know, community college or for special high-end technology training courses? Because you don't want to lose that knowledge, do you? You don't want to lose that legacy information and intelligence in the field where they're still needed. Ben or anybody else have any thoughts on that? Ben?
I think my only thought on it would be that I think with the advent of large language models, this is moving faster than the traditional education system is going to be able to keep up with. And so I do think we need to look into alternative education opportunities. LinkedIn Learning courses is like probably something that everybody's interacted with, but I think education looks a lot more like that. And I also think that part of your overhead factor, part of your cost factor of your people is you've got to assume that they're going to spend a day a week learning something, because if they're not, you guys are falling behind.
Thank you. Okay, let's go on. Tim, I've got a prediction for you already in the chat for you. So let's go to this. AI will analyze real-time data from construction sites to predict potential safety hazards and proactively, I like those two words together, proactively alert workers, preventing accidents and injuries. How's this going to work? Tim, tell us more, please.
Yeah, so some of the stuff we're looking at is how do you be proactive with your safety by utilizing technologies with cameras and data coming in. and doing data analysis across it to see what hazards are, then be able to more predict, get in front of it. So if you know the past and you know the present, then you can anticipate what could happen if the same actions take place. Where AIs come in is it's efficient, it's fast. It could, if you train it, it could analyze information quicker and push that information back out, machine learning AI. So we're at that in life, that precipice where things are going to start rolling over to be able to utilize data in more efficient ways, to protect workforces, as well as open up to kind of what Ben was talking about on what students need to look at. And part of what I'm looking at, and I'm trying to get out of that entry level and get people into careers at more that second stage. So bringing in internships to teach them some of those skill sets, because those entry level positions are going to be taken by AI or offset by AI. So
Interesting. Any comments around the table? We
Um,
good?
I'll,
Okay,
I'll
Darryl, please.
I'll mention that being the proactive side of it for training and safety is key with AI, that I don't think people kind of highlight in what the capabilities are, because the more that you can learn and understand what's coming, the more people will be better prepared. So you're able to be more efficient, reducing cost and streamlining the resources that you need, which is really what our society needs to be economic sustainable and ready for that growth that we're expecting with the new evolution of AI.
Also, think of it as attracting more people when they know that safety is a priority. They know that it may be more exciting to be working with robotics and working with. I remember, Don, years ago, I did a show on the future of factories, the new factory. And people were saying, whereas it used to be, oh, I don't want my kid going into factory job, they're going to stand around pushing a button on an assembly line. And they were saying, wait a minute, these kids are now having jobs where they're holding an iPad. They're on the shop floor. They are making decisions. They're working with data. They're coming home and saying, I had an exciting day at the factory today. So, Darryl, on your point, I'm thinking that this will, and everybody's point, it will make it more exciting to want to come into construction for different reasons, perhaps. You see that building? I helped build that. What did you do? Well, I worked on robotics for this crane to bring the bricks to the 97th floor. I'm making this up, guys. Don't be mad at me. But you get my point. Thank you. Any other comments around? Because I'm ready with a prediction from Darryl. Are we all good? Okay, here we go.
I'll
Yeah,
add to that too,
please.
because in this industry across the board, from road construction to building construction, where we have gaps in resources. So having a technology element is going to attract younger talent coming into the market, because now it's not as for lack of better words, boring or something that's not of interest, that they can
Hmm.
express back to their friends or post on their social media how fun they're having at work. And
Exactly.
so this kind of technology allows them to be excited and grow themselves, because it's always going to be growing, like Ben said. So they're always going to be challenged at work, which I think a lot of people are looking for in their careers.
Yes, Ben, go.
Just one quick follow-up on that. You're 100% correct. And just to point out what we're kind of seeing in the industry is the middle management gets that. So whether we're working with a construction company or we're working with a state DOT or a municipality, the people that have to attract and retain the young talent are begging for these tools. And one of the biggest gaps we're seeing is with the higher level of management, because they're putting a lot of, they're trying to do value judgments around what does the thing, what does the robot, what does the algorithm do, and they're not looking at the whole picture of how do you attract the younger talent to actually come and do jobs with you, and that should be part of your ROI, for lack of a better word, calculation into what you're looking at. And so we've had a lot of middle management get very excited about, I want these tools so I can attract the right people to use the
Yep.
tools of the next generation, and some of the upper management get in their way and not quite understand the connection there.
Yep. They will have to understand. Tim, join us. What?
yeah, I mean, one of the customers that were piloting our simulator, they see where they'll take it to a trade show and the kids or the younger generation gravitate towards these because that's what they're used to. They're used to playing video games and communicating in that way, and
Mhm.
bringing that technology um, to them, they want to jump on it. They want to use the VR. They want to use AR simulation. And then to take that a step further into the prediction is analyzing that data and being able to adapt it to an individual person, not a one size fits all. And that's really what we're focusing. How do I, and that goes to my daughter's comment, how do I bring something to her that she can understand no matter what, how she learns, if ADHD, dyslexia, whatever, how do you get it to where they can really comprehend and get excited for it? So, and retain that information.
Good point. Meet them where they are, right?
Right. Right.
Help them learn how they learn. Help them think with the senses that work for them. So we're talking about not necessarily personalization, but being able to target the learner and the entrant into the field. A lot of good stuff around. Thank you very much. Darryl, I have a prediction for you. Let's see what you say here. AI, we're getting down to the roadbed, if you will. I'm making a pun here on your prediction. Darryl says AI will enhance the monitoring of road maintenance using sensor data. I think we're getting into IoT here to predict maintenance needs such as potholes before they form. What? Talk to New York about that. Reducing incidents that lead to traffic congestion. Relate this to our construction topic. Darryl, go ahead.
Sure. So it really goes back to that key word of being proactive.
Mm-hmm.
A pothole may start as a small crack on a road, but how do you know when and where it is? I listened to a transportation seminar about an application where citizens can go in and input where they're seeing potholes. But when I drive around cities that have potholes, I don't think about having to report that to the city to help them. And also the safety of driving and trying to remember the exact location, lane, GPS coordinates. Like it's just a lot of practice from the citizen to input manually. Well, now we have cameras on our intersections or highways that can zoom in or see, but also you have a new technology of dash cameras that are getting clips and images of travel by fleets or drivers for like ride sharing. So now you're getting a coverage map of information that can be connected to even connected vehicle data that's detecting based on tire traction where potholes can be. So now you're able to overlay what the tire is saying and then validating that with an image using AI. So now you have this an automated approach of, hey, here's a pothole, here's the size of it one day to the next. Which one should be more proactive? Because we go back to the resource constraints. How do you schedule and provide that maintenance out for your resource to be proactive in addressing these potholes before they create more damage to vehicles? Or unfortunately create an incident at a scene, someone trying to swerve to another lane and not paying attention and seeing that pothole. And so really this gives a proactive approach to cities and construction companies even be more understanding of what their budget should be and their cost, allowing cities to plan way ahead in advance versus reactive and waiting for people to report the issue that this pothole is now almost a sinkhole in the middle of the city.
Think of old roads, think of damaged road beds, think of putting heavy construction. I'm thinking of just stuff I see on TV, heavy construction equipment riding over a previously damaged road and creating more of a problem, exacerbating that pothole, that potential sinkhole. So this would be proactive in so many ways, predictive even more than proactive. It's predicting before it's acting on anything. It's saying, wait a minute, you don't want to take Third Avenue. You want to take the drive around. Very interesting. Anybody else have any comments on this?
Saw some very interesting technology at a TRB around that topic earlier this year.
What's a
There's a
TRB?
Transportation Research Board.
Thank you. You have to talk to
So,
us layperson
yes,
people
yes,
here.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Um,
Go.
But yeah, we were in the non-destructive testing seminar, and people were like presenting on their work. And there's actually a foreign car manufacturer that is installing a box in all their cars, and they're just taking all the information that they're already tracking, and they're packaging it in a way so that they can send it to the local government. So there's this thing called an IMU, initial inertial measurement unit. Your car now has one of those because it uses that to make sure traction control and all that stuff works as efficiently as possible. There's a component of sensing the G's that the car experience. So if two cars in a row swerve in the same spot, there's probably a pothole. If two cars in a row experience a force in the same spot, there's probably a pothole. And you've already got GPS enablement on your car, and you've already got cell phone enablement in almost every vehicle. And so it's a little box that this car manufacturer started installing in all their vehicles, and with the sole purpose of being able to report things like this. What we do with that data, that's the problem that all of us are on the phone to try and figure out. Because it's one thing to collect it, it's another thing to figure out how to make actionable insights on it.
And I think it's another thing at the public level to get people to stop being so afraid of something they don't know about, they don't understand, and they might have heard bad things about. And we don't do doom and gloom on this show, but people saying, I had a friend who told me she didn't like technology, and she was texting me. She was using SMS. She said, I hate technology. I think it's a terrible thing. I said, Karen, yeah, she was a Karen. Karen, you're texting me on your mobile phone, on your iPhone. What's the problem here? Just didn't get, I hate it. It's a terrible thing. Who raised? Tim and then Don. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, to what Darryl was saying about proactive, I mean, the world right now, a lot of technology is a reactive technology. It's identifying for you to do something with later. Stuff like Darryl's talking about with predictive analytics, understanding what phases or what steps go into it to be proactive is really what I think the technology is capable of doing now. And as it faster processing, more network farms and AI infrastructure is built out, it will give the capability to do more, to be more proactive, right? So like our tagline is predict, prevent, and protect. It's really about predicting what's going to happen so we can be proactive. And that's like technologies like Ben, Darryl have is looking at things to be proactive. And I think that's where AI really comes in.
Yep. So. Don, did you have a comment on this? Go ahead.
Yeah, I did. I was just going to, draft off the back of what Ben was saying. I forget the company or what the illustration was. It might have been a European car manufacturer, or it might have been a startup with a similar offering. But this whole idea that all of this data is being created by the cars moving around, by also sensors on light poles, and the instrumentation of our cities, both situated on buildings or light poles, as well as ones in motion like on cars, can all contribute to situational awareness that feeds more and more of these things, like not requiring manual inspection and being able to say, you need to go to Clark and Monroe and fix this pothole right away because it's gonna, we've had two tires blow out or whatever. So I think we're sort of approaching that faster than most people think.
And I'm going to add an E word to this conversation: expectations. Think about this. Somebody's driving down the street in a city and they run into a pothole. And they know that the city is already using AI predictively, proactively, that they have sensors in the roads, in the cars, and they're saying, why wasn't this taken care of before I drove over it and damaged the frame of my car, which I paid a lot of money for, and upset everything, and the eggs broke, and eggs are $900 a dozen now, and you crack the eggs in the back of my car. How dare you? And I have an easy ride car. So think about expectations as people understand this proactive component of AI and this smart cities. Don, you've been on my show several times talking about smart cities, and people are going to say, I expect you to be intelligently applying the benefits of technology to my city, to my town. Why didn't you? I think I got a rise out of Ben. Did you want to say something?
I'm gonna match your E word with a V word, which is values.
Okay.
So the AI and the technology can find all the problems in the world. We got to figure out if we value roads that aren't crumbling, bridges that aren't falling apart, buildings that are safe, work sites that are safe. If us as a society don't value those things, all the tech in the world isn't going to fix the fact that we're not putting enough resources towards these things. The average life expectancy of a bridge is 45 years old. The average age of a bridge in the United States right now is 54 years old. And there's not a single amount of AI. We can make the process of getting these fixed and replaced better. We can make it more efficient. We can do better calculations. We can do better resource planning, but there's still got to be a value in society that we want these things to be maintained, taken care of, and done in a safe way. And if we don't value those things, the tech can't fix our values.
Great counterpoint. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. That's why I like these roundtables, because the ideas just pour out, and we're elevating what we're the approach. What I say is not the end all and be all. I'm looking for all of you to bring your intelligence to the conversation, and you certainly are. We have time for one more prediction, maybe two. Don, I've already picked number 4 for
I
you.
think Darryl had one more thing to say, though.
Darryl, go ahead. I'm
Sure.
sorry. Go.
Thank you. A couple of things to note is how we're highlighting the good of AI. And that goes back to your friend Karen's point about being afraid of technology or the fear. There is discomfort about what AI is going to do for society, and we're here highlighting the good, the E and the V. And so I really wanted to state that. And then the second thing is when we talk about the efficiencies and values that we bring into cities, it makes it a more livable city. So now cities that adopted this quicker than others will attract better companies, better talent, better people, because they know they're going to be in a safer environment. And that's what cities are really competing for in the future. It's not just being able to have amenities or entertainment. It's like, how do I drive safer to work or to entertainment destinations so that my car insurance doesn't keep going up? Because the more incidents that we have on our roads, the more your insurance in that community is going to be.
Values, expectations, intelligence, all going together. Tim, talk.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of go off of what Ben and Darryl just said. I think values is more in how we utilize technology and how we're pushing that technology out. Because as long as the person creating the technology has the values, then it's being done for a good reason in a responsible way. With the cameras and Karen breaking her eggs, right? If right now what a guy does is he drives around in a truck until he finds a pothole and he fills it in and drives off, right? Which is a inefficient way to do that. So if we're building technology with personal values in place and being responsible with the technology, now we can utilize it for good, become more efficient, fill the holes so the eggs don't break, and in a faster, more meaningful way, I think is what some of that comes down to, right? So.
Thank you. Thank you. Everybody good with that? I want to squeeze in one more prediction from Don, something we haven't talked about yet, Don, and then we'll wrap up. Don says AI will optimize construction project schedules. AI algorithms, I think that's not a dirty word anymore, will factor in resources, weather, and historical data for accurate scheduling and cost estimation. I have 2 words for that, Don, if only. Go ahead, Don, talk to us.
I mean, again, this doesn't require a really deep dig into what AI is good at doing. It's taking a lot of different data, a lot of different variables, and looking at them holistically to optimize. So whether it's coordination across the supply chain or looking at a construction site in terms of saying, look, there's cost overruns, there's delays, because I have all kinds of issues. So if I can be predicting safety hazards and step in and avoid something from happening, then I don't shut down the site because of a safety issue. If I can optimize my delivery schedule so that I don't have 7 trucks parked outside the vertical construction site on a busy city street because I couldn't coordinate, then you're going to have a positive impact there. If I can optimize my worker productivity, that's going to help things run smoother. This is not rocket science. And there's all kinds of data that exist in silos that we're trying to get to work together. So if you look at like the BIM systems and any of the other 35 or 40 component systems that are supposed to work together, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It depends upon the vendor and how they're looking at it. But AI stripes across all of this in ways that allows you to integrate the data and gain insights that can have a really positive effect. So, for example, let's just say like there's a potential collision on a site between a truck and a heavy equipment piece of equipment there, and you can avoid that. The ripple effect of avoiding that can be profound. And so all of this is all about resource optimization, and the byproducts of that are also productivity, safety enhancements, cost optimization. There's a lot of good things that come from this, but I will add one note here. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of using AI, but I think I've also learned the hard way that it's not pixie dust. And I think that the AI solutions are getting better, but people's awareness of what AI can and can't do in the context of how we use it today, I think is evolving. And so I've worked on a bunch of different projects now. What I would tell people is, look, you need the human in the loop. You can't just say AI is going to give me all the answers. So the illustration I use is, we want to score a touchdown, and we want to use AI to do it. And the illustration is, we catch the kickoff on our own goal line, and we have 100 yards to go to get to the other end zone. If I can use AI so that I catch the kickoff on the opposing team's 15-yard line, I still haven't scored a touchdown, but I can now devote all of my energy towards that last 15 yards. And I think in many ways, AI collapses the research and coordination needed to get you down the road, but it is seldom going to give you all the answers. It requires that cooperation between the tool sets and the humans in the loop to get to where you're going. So,
thank you. Good way to wrap up. We're going to finish in about 4.5 minutes. Any comments on what Don said about we're still believing in humans here. That's why I do this show, because we're still talking about that. It's not just going to be AI running away. Let's get a quickie from Darryl and then from Tim, and then we'll wrap. Darryl, go ahead.
Sure. I think this ties directly to what Ben was saying about training and reinforcement, and being proactive with training people as they're on scene or at their facility or in the construction zone. And so with AI, we believe you have to have a human element. From a smart city perspective, we look at it that it has to be human centric. So we really need to focus on what are people going to get from it. And to have that human centric approach, you have to have people involved in the decision making. AI should be a catalyst of giving you better information, predictions, and recommendations from all that data, versus taking resources to figure it out and then come up with a report. But the human element really should be, here's the final decision. It's like expecting AI to do human surgery for removing a cancer tumor, I'm not going to trust yet, right? I want that human element to be there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Tim?
And AI is the assistant, not the lead, right? It is there to help and make things efficient so you can do more by utilizing the technology. And like an example, my daughter, her thing. So I built just a basic program for her, and she has actually just had a report card and she has straight A's when they were telling me she wasn't going to pass a test. So utilizing technology in a way that actually helps it's the assistant. It's the person that you could call to help you through a problem, but you need that human approach to it. And with like the adaptive technologies, Don's example with trucks, if they're in a simulator and I see they're doing something wrong and I throw a truck at them a couple times in the simulator, no real damage, what's going to happen when you get to a job site? It's muscle memory, right? You cause enough frustration that allows for your brain to have that switch. So
thank you. I'm going to introduce another E word before we wrap up: excitement. Doesn't this add excitement? Aren't you all excited about what you do? Darryl, I can see excitement and pride. Tim as well. Don, you're always excited about your job. Ben too. It's the excitement of the newness of doing things better, smarter, more efficiently. We didn't get to greener, but we'll do a part 2 and we'll talk about that as well. The excitement of moving ahead, innovation, expertise, bringing people, and people brought the technology, and let's put them together and do things better. Wouldn't that be a lovely thing? We're going to wrap in about a minute and a half. One sentence from each of you, your major prediction, one quick sentence, just real fast. We're almost out of time on construction plus AI. One benefit that you love the most. Don, go fast.
Safety.
Okay, that's a good one sentence. That was an exclamation point. Don doesn't use many explanations, but we got one. Ben, one sentence. What's your best thing about AI in construction?
It's all about safety.
Okay, we're going there. All right, Tim, what do you think?
Obviously safety, but
Come on, give me a different word. Give me a different
allow
word.
for efficiencies within construction that we haven't seen before, which will create a safer place.
Okay, we got to that too. Darryl, do you have anything different to add?
I was going to say help save lives, but really I will reinforce the positive of bringing in new talent into the field that is desperately needed to help fill the gaps.
What about cooler buildings? What about cost efficiency? What about improving, renovating cities and bringing in new construction ideas and new designs and making them safer? Don, I'm going to predict we're going to do part 2 at some point, so let's hold that off. Don, everybody give Don a quick round of applause.
Sentence now.
Don DeLoach, thank you very much for bringing these wonderful people to me. Let me play the music, and thank you. I've got 30 seconds here to go, so let's play the music. Stick around, gentlemen. We're going to talk. Okay, here we go.
Are you tired of hearing the future is already here? We are too.
Yes.
That may have been yesterday's future, but today's future hasn't happened yet. Take a deep breath, tune out the hype, the noise, and turn up the volume. Voice America brings you savvy, art of the possible technology visionaries talking about how today's innovations right now are shaping every aspect of our real future. We'll laser focus our spotlight on workplace, health, digital media, transportation, smart cities, social marketing, fashion, food, smart home, consumer gadgets, and buzzworthy tech like artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, augmented reality, and lots more. Clear your calendar and open your mind for Technology Revolution, the future of now. With the most upbeat host on global radio, Bonnie D. Graham. Listen anywhere, anytime, on any device.
I want you all to know that I wrote that and Ryan Treasure recorded that. That's about 10 years old, Don, that promo. I found it and I thought it was really cool. I think I'm still the most upbeat host on tech radio, but that remains to be seen. It has been absolutely lovely. Gentlemen, don't go away. Jordan, thanks for joining us, and he's going to close us out on the Voice America Business Channel. And we actually have 5 people on YouTube are watching us live. Oh my God, everybody wave to them. Thank you. Live viewers on YouTube. This is a milestone. It must have been an exciting topic. Bonnie D saying goodbye. Gentlemen, stick around. We'll